It's Martin.
And this is the news
Martin?
Wanderer.
Martin. Martin.
You're listening
When?
to KU Radio.
Radio for students.
By students.
I thought it was radio for you.
Who knows
Radio
anymore?
for everybody.
It's not for BYU, though.
No.
Yeah.
Way to throw that in.
She's definitely makes a lot of friends.
Listen to the Sunday Hub on KU Radio. 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 Sunday from 5 to 9, only on KU Radio. It's so good, it's almost great.
That's hilarious.
This is Kobe,
Kyle, Evan, Connor. We're picking shoes.
and you're listening to KU Radio.
All right, y'all, what's going on? 5:30 as promised here. I'm hanging out in the booth, kuradio.org. We're right smack in the middle of the hip hop drip, but we've got a little political takeover for the night because of one very special occasion, and that is the Democratic presidential debate that's going on in New Hampshire. And so for the occasion, I got a special guest in here. She's actually works on the newspaper for the campus here, and that's called the Chronicle, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So we got Casey up in the building here. Say what's up, Casey.
What's up?
Thanks for coming through. It's going to be a fun night. I'm ready. This is like one of my favorite nights of the month is debate night. Pretty much political drama has been what's fueling my fire for my...
I'm ready
Yeah.
for the primary season.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It seems so crazy that they have 50 states to go through and that so much like craziness has already been going on.
Well, now we only have 49. Iowa was this week, so.
You're not wrong. So the debate is going on in about 30 minutes here at the top of the hour, 6 o'clock here, Salt Lake City time. And what I wanted to do is for the viewers that aren't as politically savvy, I kind of want to give them an idea of some of the news that's been going on just in the last couple of weeks and some of the, just maybe some stuff to look out for because some of these guys are snakes, man, and they talk real slick. So we're going to try to help you guys out a little bit. Casey and I were talking about a couple of things earlier before the mics were hot. But let's see. So start things off. Biden is not looking strong at all going into this.
Yeah, fourth place in Iowa this week.
Fourth place.
No one saw that coming. Everyone said he was the front runner, and here we are.
Yeah, well, everyone's grandma had their vote cast already.
I guess. Or maybe the grandmas just don't come to caucuses, but
I know. It was a big shocker for sure. To see him so low was really crazy.
I think
Really crazy.
the DNC was also pretty shocked. It seemed like everyone on CNN did not know what to do with themselves.
Well, they were really scrambling because they went directly to Pete. And it was like so fast and no one had time to react to it that like there was a bunch of cracks in the facade of what's going on. Like,
Well, I think in general, the Democratic Party was not very prepared for what happened in Iowa because they weren't expecting the results they got. Their app that they had barely even trial tested was not ready because it failed. Thank God they had paper backups. But, I mean, that's just the same as 2016. People in 2016 said that the caucuses and the primary system was corrupt, and now people are already worried again.
Yep. And I think that the Sanders campaign has really grown a lot since 2016. And they have, I think that there was a good maybe secret branch of his team dedicated to like damage control kind of shit like this. Like the fact that he had his own numbers when all of those other things were coming out. He was like, psh, we destroyed them.
Warren was also on the ready with her numbers from what I recall. And I mean, I think both of them just did not think that it was fair that Pete was calling it for himself when results were not out. He was calling himself the winner. He was giving himself that kind of momentum that comes with an Iowa victory because it's the first caucus of the primary season.
Exactly.
When he hadn't really earned it, and it was essentially a tie.
So that's one of the ways that they can twist the way that things actually are. So there's one way that reality is, right? But they say, oh, how can we avoid this? Well, we're just going to give some bullshit results,
Yeah.
63 whatever,
Here's
some odd
60% of the votes. They're
could
in.
Be, could
so
be 60.
Pete's
and
winning.
by the way, we haven't counted any of those, what do they call them, satellite caucuses
Yeah.
that happened at.
A lot of the Des Moines precincts weren't in yet when
Right.
but Des Moines is where Bernie pulls some of the highest numbers.
Exactly. So all of the people that wouldn't be able to be there at a normal time because they work a fucking job, 9-to-5 job, are not able to come. So they were not reporting those results. So to leave that out and to come out and declare victory, and I think that, I'll just say this real quick. I think that Pete also, I'm not sure that the clip I saw, he didn't exactly declare victory. He kind of said like, oh, we've come a long way as a mayor, and it's a victory regardless. But, you know, from what we've seen, he fucking knows it. He knows that he's got some shit, some strings pulled in the backstage that, oh, well, you know, I've got the strong guys on my side, though, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Let's see. Another thing that people need to know about this election in Iowa is that the way that they do this and, like, take tallies, they don't account for percentages at all. So stuff either gets rounded down or rounded up.
Yeah, and when it happens, you can look up videos of people just doing a coin toss to decide whether or not a delegate is going to go to Pete or Bernie in some precincts because it was pretty close.
So stuff like that starts happening with these coin tosses, and there's these horrible videos that people, I don't know if you saw the video of the kid doing the coin toss.
Where he just flipped it the other way.
He literally does some fucked up excuse for a coin toss. Like, this guy literally grew up on Mars and has never seen a coin toss. Does this pathetic excuse for a coin toss, shouts out the answer, and then fools around with it in his hand.
Yeah.
And then proceeds to, like, put his hands up. Like, oh, I swear. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. This shit's garbage, and we all know it. So
Iowa was just a wreck. Let's not lie to ourselves.
A total wreck. So what ended up happening is that Pete and Bernie both got 2 delegates. Now, I'm not sure exactly what these delegates are. It seems like there's a couple of different things being called delegates at this point, so it's too much for me with layman's knowledge to understand. But the point is that the reason they both got 2 delegates is because...
Well, the percent was Bernie had 26.1%,
Yeah.
and Pete had 26.2%. So...
And so Pete's numbers got rounded up because he was at the 0.53, and Bernie's numbers got moved down. And these delegates ended up getting split evenly, even though the vote was not even. And so for those of you who aren't really
Bernie Sanders definitely came out with the most votes, like individual votes. Not every vote counts to be a delegate, though. Only, like, delegates and caucus systems are really weird, and just not every voter counts as delegate. So Bernie had this big group of supporters. If you saw the Bernie section, what they did is they took the Biden section for supporters and they just gave half of it to Bernie's because no one showed up for Biden. Mm-hmm. And the Bernie gang came strong for Iowa. And I get the feeling that New Hampshire, they've already kind of started as well.
Oh, sorry, that was just a live stream I was getting going here. They're doing their stupid pre-game stuff where they spread a bunch of lies and everything.
Get the debate ready. Get everyone
all
buttered up for it.
The funny thing is Pete is on the record talking about wanting to do a lot of the stuff that right now he's running to the right of, and it's just bullshit. Like it's
yeah.
He's on the record talking about, oh, we need to do, if people are winning and they're losing the popular vote, then that's a problem. And look at him out here pulling every fucking string.
I think just in general, Pete's going with the strategy of, like, looking at 2016, seeing that the Democratic Party is split between these people who supported Hillary and want a woman in the White House and maybe aren't as far to the left, and then people who did vote for Bernie who are very far to the left, where it is kind of a 50-50 split of the Democratic Party. So, like, a very weak party right now, and Pete's definitely picking to go to the right and to be that establishment candidate. Because obviously Biden is the establishment candidate that cannot pull through.
Yeah.
Pete's going to go in. He's going to...
It comes off extremely distasteful. If there was someone in the right-wing Republican Party who came out and was like, hey, I'm gonna be the left part of this party, it'd be like, okay, so I think that this guy has all of the right ideas on the right things. You know, he's going to be a little conservative, you know, for the religious folks that have those upbringings and backgrounds, but is also going to come through with the common sense type stuff for the people that want the earth to be around for longer and stuff. But whereas Pete is running right as a Democrat, which just comes off really gross to me. It's like, who are you to say what we can't have?
Yeah. I think just in general, the Democratic Party has kind of lost their message. They're supposed to be a party for the working class, but I think the frustration of half the members of the party who did vote for Bernie and who supported Bernie strongly in 2016 is they feel that the Democratic Party isn't the party of the working class anymore. It's not the party of the minorities. It's the party, same as the Republicans, of like rich white people. That's how people see the Democratic Party now, and that's how like there's a reason that a lot of people dislike Joe Biden, and there's a reason a lot of people dislike Hillary.
Right.
And it's because there's a good portion of the Democratic base that's very frustrated with these establishment candidates.
Yeah, I totally agree. We can see through their BS, and we can tell how slimy they are, and just all the little dirty tricks that they have up their sleeve. Like, you know, how do you want to make it? How do you want to kill Bernie's momentum from this win, from a fucking
where he
win?
he got the most votes. He didn't get the most delegates, but he had the most votes.
Trump didn't get the most votes, and he's still gloating about his win to this day.
Yeah.
And good on him, because it's good politics. So, what are they going to do to Bernie? They're going to make it look like the margin was really small, so that if there's any holdout Pete guys out there, they're like, no, man, we got to hit the streets. It's got to be, you know, fucking burning down, flipping buses for Pete.
Well, and it's also to make it
care.
look like the establishment candidates are winning the popular vote, to make them look more popular than they are, so that going into this, the DNC can have the candidate that they want. I think they did the same thing where Yang and Tulsi, every super far to the left candidate is getting called out as a Russian hack by their own party. We'll see how it goes. Seems a little bit counterintuitive to me, but
yeah, it's hilarious how many things it's their go-to excuse for anything.
Yeah, but
it's amazing. So we were talking a little bit earlier as well about Tulsi, and really, I think that both of us agreed that it would be really cool to see her concede some of her voters, which, you know, there probably are some diehard Tulsis. I've definitely seen a lot of stands out there.
I'm kind of a Tulsi stan. I mean,
well, she's super charismatic, and she's nice to look at. She'd be a great president. Let's be honest.
I mean,
but
Tulsi, I think just in general also has she's more conservative than Bernie, than Yang, stuff like that, but she's also definitely more willing to talk to Republicans, which I think a lot of people are looking for. I think in 2016, you have a very, very heated debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And since then, I don't necessarily think the nation's healed, right? Even if you look at the State of the Union this week, that was the most partisan room that I've seen in years. The State of the Union was given in the most partisan way, with Nancy Pelosi tearing up Trump's speech afterwards, and with Trump refusing to shake her hand. I mean, people aren't playing games with the other side right now. Tulsi's still playing games with the other side, because Tulsi's been showing herself willing to talk to the president.
She sat out the impeachment, which is something as well to bring up. Another before we move on to that real quick, though, we'd love to see Tulsi run with Bernie, put their heads together, and that would be awesome. Like you were saying earlier, it would kind of help. It would help Bernie get some people who think that maybe Tulsi will help him out on some of these issues that he's a little bit more extreme on.
Yeah, it will definitely moderate out his potential cabinet. It will show that he's willing to. It will show that he's also willing to work with the other side the same way Tulsi is, by just not having a super left cabinet.
You know that conversations will be being had in that room, not hands being shook, right?
Yeah.
It'll be conversations instead of hands. So Trump just got acquitted from impeachment, and like any savvy political commentator online and on Twitter said, he came out of it alive and possibly stronger than fucking
definitely
ever.
stronger. Donald Trump has never had the highest polls of of all the presidents. He's never had high polls, but right now he's at the highest he's been through his entire presidency. That's a strong way to go into an election, and I think this week definitely only helped his supporters come out of the woodworks a little bit. If they kind of chilled out since 2016, if they're not as fired up as they were, they're getting there because 2020 is starting and he was acquitted.
They're all saying, "Ha! Look at what a crock of shit this is," and turning a blind eye to all of the other stuff that quietly happens while we're all distracted by seemingly trivial issues like the fucking. I mean, they could have gotten him on so many worse things. He's endangering our lives out here by deregulating these meat industries, by deregulating chicken farming, deregulating slaughterhouses, pork slaughterhouses. I mean, I love meat, yo. Like, let's put it one way. There's only a couple of things that keep me going every single day, and that is like a good meal. Every day you can look forward to that. You know what I'm saying? And he took away bacon from me, and I think that if Bernie could just run on a platform of
bringing back bacon,
bring bacon back, make bacon great again, dude. Oh, I'm making hats, yo. I'm making $1 million right now.
That's the best campaign slogan I've ever heard, actually.
Dude,
bring bacon back.
Yo, because I mean, I clown on vegetarians most of the time, and I'm out here doing the same thing myself, eating kale and carrots. Not too bad if you boil them for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's bring it back. So going into this primary though, just know that Donald Trump is at his strongest, and that he has verbally said in the past that Bernie scares him.
Yeah.
And he won't come out and say it.
Bernie scares him way more than Biden ever will.
Right.
He's scared because Donald Trump is an anti-establishment candidate, and he competed in 2016 against a very establishment candidate. He's never had to compete against an anti-establishment candidate who runs on that similar platform of not being a traditional member of the parties. So He doesn't know how he's going to fare against someone like a Bernie, even against an Elizabeth Warren, who's pretty left-wing.
Yeah. And
he has
Bernie's
a lot
got a new
less chance.
Yeah, he's got a new group of people turning 18 every single year. You know,
the young voters have always supported Bernie the strongest. And
right, and so that's a huge strong point. I heard that the turnout in Iowa was really, really cool. They had I saw some of the breakdowns, like demographic breakdowns, and he had like 90% of the South Sudanese vote out there, and these guys had, I forget what the percentage was, but they had a huge amount of people who had never voted before. You know how cool that is? That's people who didn't come out in 2016 who now are pawns on the, not pawns, but, you know, they're on the chessboard. Like, we got to factor that shit in for sure.
I think also in 2016, Bernie did not do as well with African-American voters as Hillary did. That was one of his weaknesses in the primaries. And in Iowa, he's already polling higher numbers with minorities than he did in 2016. So he's already kind of showing that as a candidate, he's trying to round himself out. He's been working hard to get the minority vote, and it's kind of showing off because in Iowa, he got more than he ever did in 2016.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about the debate tonight. It's going to be in New Hampshire. Like I said earlier, this is the second state that's going to be voting. So this is a pretty big debate. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of questions directed at, you know, New Hampshire itself. I don't know what kind of geopolitical type of things are going on over there, what kind of natural disasters they've got. I'm sure we'll learn all about it tonight.
I mean, New Hampshire's your traditional liberal East Coast state. It's very similar to Vermont.
Right. And they're right next door. So I'm really hoping, and ABC is hosting. They rarely make the cringe compilations online as far as like bad news goes, but they still.
We're not at CNN levels yet.
Yeah, not quite at CNN, which this is one of my favorite jokes that my comedians that I watch says. He says one of the N's stands for not news.
Sounds about right.
For real. So, but I'm really hoping in this debate to, you know, Bernie oftentimes, you know, he throws some jabs here and there.
He needs to be more aggressive.
We need to get some body slams out.
He definitely needs to, especially considering he's coming out of Iowa, and Buttigieg did everything he could to take that Iowa momentum and steal it for himself. So I think Bernie, if he wants to kind of take back that spotlight, and he needs to bring it, he needs to show that he did bring out the most voters in Iowa.
Yep.
And he needs to show also that he's a different candidate than people like Warren. A lot of people say Warren is just like Bernie, but a woman, and we need a woman in the White House, so she's a better candidate. He needs to go on that stage tonight. He needs to throw some punches at Pete, show that he's a stronger candidate than him as far as polling votes, and then he needs to show why he's different from Warren.
He'll be like, well, we'll get one into the White House, and then he's going to announce that Tulsi's running with him. Boom, mic drop.
That's the way to be. A Tulsi Bernie ticket. That's what I poll for.
Well, and here's what I'm hoping Bernie will. I'm hoping he's going to go at Pete's jugular really, really hard, because here's what all he needs to say is, here's the deal, folks. Last debate, what was being made fun of and people were joking around about is how poorly Pete performed, and it was all about the wine cellar Pete thing, right? Bernie literally went out and made T-shirts that said wine cellar Pete, went wearing them around all over in a bunch of interviews and stuff after the debate. So all he needs to say is, listen guys, this guy, the last time we were here, this guy was Wine Cave Pete, and nobody fucked with him. No one. And here we are. We told you, we exposed him for being in the pot, deep in people's pockets. And here he is getting some kind of fraudulent boost. And bam, that's all you guys need to know about that. Yo, you're done. How are you going to come back to that?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be very much a Bernie versus Pete night, just because of what happened in Iowa this week, and also the fact that their platforms are so different. But I also think that Pete's going to get a lot of flack from everyone on the stage. I think Amy Klobuchar is mad at Pete. I think Elizabeth Warren is mad at Pete. I think they're all kind of going to be going at Pete. And I think Joe Biden's going to be standing there not saying much.
I agree. So do you think, I'll pose this question to you. What do you think ABC's strategy is going to be going into this? Do you think that maybe they'll try to maybe keep the issues as far away from that type of stuff as possible in order to kind of keep him in a safe zone? It might leak over there every once in a while. You never know how much bullshit we're going to be in for.
Like you said, it's not a CNN debate. I think if it was a CNN debate, then Buttigieg and Biden would be getting some of the softball questions. Mm-hmm. I don't think that we're necessarily going to see that. I think they're going to play a lot of the diversity game. I think the DNC's best bet right now, because you have a lot of people who take part in this identity politics, who want a woman in the White House or want someone who's LGBT in the White House. So I think they might pull a little bit of just like the identity cards, throwing out questions about the fact that Pete is gay, or throwing out questions about Elizabeth Warren being a woman, simply because there are a lot of Democratic voters who want to see more representation in the White House than old white men.
Right.
I think, I can see questions like that. They always talk about Medicare for all, and they ask all the candidates, and I'm pretty sure we all know at this point that just about all of them stand for more public health care, if not a Medicare for all system. But I think they're all to the left of our current healthcare system, I think we're going to see some of the same, a good chunk of the same, and then also some questions about identity. But I definitely think it's also going to be less partisan than a CNN debate.
Yeah, I agree with that. And with that said, I did see that part of the lineup of moderators or interviewers is going to be somebody from the local news station. So that's kind of cool. We'll get that out there, that aspect. So definitely she'll get some direct questions about, we'll really see what's going on and how these people care about New Hampshire.
I think following this week, we're probably going to get a decent amount of Trump questions, because obviously Trump got acquitted this week in his impeachment trial. They're probably going to ask every candidate what they feel about that, and every candidate's going to say he shouldn't have been acquitted, or at least he did some abuse of power.
Do we know who was for the impeachment?
Yeah.
Just so we can catch him on a
bluff.
If they try to say something.
I'm pretty sure the thing about impeachment in our current political climate is that regardless of whether or not you think someone should be impeached, holding with your party line is the best chance for re-election, right? So we've seen a lot of, in Congress, we saw people hold with their party. None of the Democrats voted to acquit, and then all the Republicans held except for Mitt Romney on one of the charges, right? So it was a very partisan vote. And just like knowing that, I think that it's a very partisan debate where all these candidates are just going to say, yeah, the Democratic Party, like they're going to stand with the Democratic Party and say that impeachment should not have been acquitted, right? Like that Donald Trump should have at least faced some consequences for abuse of power and talking with Ukraine and withholding stuff from Ukraine unless he got the dirt he wanted. So I think we're going to see questions about that. We also had State of the Union this week, so I think that you might see some pointed questions regarding the economy because Trump's big focus in the State of the Union was the economy.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see questions like that. I'm just trying to think on like the last week and what other questions could be brought up, but nothing else is coming to mind.
Yeah. Looking into the future, we've got, let's see, I believe Nevada coming up next is going to be the next state that
we have a
that
southern
votes.
state too, right? Like South Carolina, I want to say.
Right. Yeah. South Carolina as well. I believe they're after Nevada or something. It's either three or four there. But we're coming out to the West Coast into Nevada, and the big drama on that one is Bloomberg, of course, taking the stage, buying his way onto the stage, put a little bit of money in the right spot conveniently, and the kid managed to make it on the big stage. So with polling at literally 0%, we're gonna hear whatever bullshit that guy has to say.
We have Arizona coming up. That's what it is.
Oh, is it Arizona?
Yeah, and we have a debate coming up in Nevada. That's what it is.
Cool. Right on. All right, guys. Well, if you're just tuning in here, it's just about the top of the hour, and it looks like the douche of the hour. Is that Costa? I don't know who that is. Some guy. Oh, man, did you see the last intro they did for,
No.
I forget if it was CNN or MSNBC or something like that, but their intros are so cringy, man. These intros are terrible. They'll be like on the pursuit of real news, journalism. It's amazing. If you guys are just tuning in here to KUradio.org, we're taking over the airwaves tonight for a little political debacle. What's going on is we've got the presidential primary debate in New Hampshire. So what's going on is they are having an election out in New Hampshire, and this is the debate to accompany it. So basically, we're going to see these bulldogs go at it, and we're here to call some of the lies out, call some of the BS, and make a few jokes as well, and just have a good time. I got my girl Casey over here, and she is a reporter for the Chronicle over here at the University of Utah. So she is writing a story, working on some stuff for the paper about the election, although they have to be a little bit careful the way they do things. She's over here to provide her unique aspect on things. And so thanks again for coming out here, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Just
right.
watching them introduce all the candidates.
Oh, my gosh.
It's an interesting stage.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this up. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of talk over this thing. I'll pause it every once in a while if we need to, like, really call some stuff out, which I'm sure we will. But until then, I'm just going to kind of let it ride. And, man, when it's crack your beers, people, is all I have to say, because it's about to be a doozy. All right, let's go. Thanks for tuning in with us at KUradio.org. It's your boy Tykes. I got Casey over here as well. We're going to be having some fun. Cool. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
We are excited to be here on the beautiful campus of St. Anselm College, home of the Hawks, and home also of our 4 debates, the last 4 presidential elections. And